Thank you very much. I don't know how to express my delight, my pleasure at such a warm welcome, at such a young and enthusiastic crowd. You know, this is the only time when I feel I'm not 47, I'm only 17. You know, since the time I stepped in here, I've been wondering that you guys have been talking such intellectual things about startups, about business, about ultra-modern technology stuff. I mean, am I not a misfit here? Thank you very much for boosting my morale. Because I've been thinking that I am a journalist who has done books about Mumbai Mafia, underworld, terrorism. I mean, those were made into movies, so what am I doing here with such a bright lot of students who would be 10 times more intelligent than I am, or I ever was? Thank you very much. Okay, my brief is to entertain you guys with some interesting stories and episodes of my life. When I was going through those incidents and anecdotes, believe me, I was not feeling brave. I only wanted to save my life. I wanted to survive and see another day. And well, it so happened that I managed to pass through those ordeals quite successfully. You know, Mumbai Mafia, they all say that it's one of the most ferocious mafia. They are like, you know, most dreaded. And perhaps after the Italian mafia, Mumbai Mafia is the second one most feared. But I disagree. And in a minute, I will tell you a couple of stories. You will find that they all are actually jokers. You know, it's very easy to, take a phone in your hand, sit 7 oceans across somewhere in Dubai, Bangkok, and other places, and threaten people and give them abuses and try to prove that if this man will not give in to your pressures, you will bump him off. What kind of bravery is that? All these big guys tell them to come in front of their victims and ask them to threaten or even utter one abuse, and they will see that they are beaten black and blue. Well, that's what the reality of Mumbai Mafia is. I will start from 1970s. You know this book, Dongli Dubai? Thank you. Which I actually wrote just out of a curiosity as a journalist. I did not know that there will be people will be reading with so much interest and so much glee. When I was doing this Black Friday, I was trying to look for some documentation on Dawood Ibrahim and other dons. I found that not a single journalist has ever attempted to chronicle his life or life of any of the dons before or after him. Sad. I don't know why. Maybe they didn't have time, maybe their wives were harassing them, or they simply lacked guts to write a book. Believe me, it's a problem to write a book. I mean, I have done 6 books and my wife has almost threatened me every time that after this, if you write another book, I'll divorce you and go home. So, well, in this book, there's a whole history of mafia from 1947. There's a mention of 3 brothers, Johnny brothers. It's called Johnny Gang. So it's called Bada Johnny, Chota Johnny, and Chikna Johnny. Now these guys were like very famous in Baikala area, and they had like unleashed a reign of terror there, and they were threatening people, and poor businessmen, they thought why to resort to violence. They used to shell out money out of fear to these people. Now one gentleman who got tired of shelling out money week after week to these goons. Why should he? It is his hard-earned money. So one day, when Chota Johnny went to his shop and started demanding money, this guy got furious. He just picked up a stick, lying in his shop, and he attacked this guy Johnny and did not stop until this Chota Johnny was dead in his shop. And believe me, Chota Johnny was not a small guy. He was a Dawood Ibrahim of 1965. One very harassed businessman taking on a don because he got tired of giving this pressure day in and day out. I will tell you one more story. Like Johnny, there was this guy who was Asif. His name was actually Sheikh Asif. But because he had made so many mistakes in his life, in his career in underworld, that he was being called as Asif Dhakkan. And then from this also, he graduated to another name called Asif Bawla. You know, Bawla, I don't know if you guys know. In Hyderabad, Bawla means mad guy. So Bawla is mad guy. Asif was a young guy of 21-year-old, chosen to be sharpshooter of Chota Shakil gang. Now, Chota Shakil was threatening businessmen in this Dongri area and trying to extort money out of those businessmen, 10 lakhs, 5 lakhs. So there were some business people who were like giving in. One guy said, boss, business is very bad. I'm sorry, I can't pay any money now. So this guy, Chota Shakil, got very upset and he decided to send this guy Asif. The brief was very clear that Asif, if he does not give you money, just pick up your gun and pump 6 bullets in this guy's head. Simple. Others will get the message and I will get money from others. So this guy Asif went to the shop and he said, Seth, paise, bhai ka aadmi hu. So first thing, the businessman seemed to be in a very foul mood. He said, अच्छा भाई homosexual है क्या? Anyway, the second thing is that, boss, paise nahi hai, you can kill me if you want to. So Asif was very upset about insult to his bhai. So now he was very ready to kill this guy. He just, whipped out his gun and pointed it at this businessman's head and wanted to shoot. But he was Asif, soon to become Dhakkan. The gun, he forgot to cock the gun. It was an automatic pistol. You need to always cock a gun. Those who see movies, even they know that before shooting from an automatic pistol, you need to cock the gun. This Asif, soon to be Dhakkan, forget to do that. And he was just click, 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 and there was no gun happening. No shooting happening at that time. The businessman slapped him. Pulled that pistol out of his hand and overpowered him with the help of his people. And Asif soon landed in jail. So I told you he got his title, Asif Dhakkan, after that. Chota Shakil was very upset and he decided that he will not give any assignment to this man ever after this. Months passed and people forget after time. After a couple of years, this man, when he came out and he thought that I should try my luck again, he called up Bhai, said, Bhai, please give me some work. Bhai said, no, I can't. I mean, you are a huge stigma to my name. But somehow Asif cajoled him and persuaded him to give another assignment. So Asif was already angry about this first insult from this businessman. He decided to go and shoot this man. So once again he got the gun. He took the gun and went to the same businessman. See, imagine, there are some people, once it can be a mistake, but when it happens second time, now even this businessman, he saw Asif and he recognized him, and he realized that this man is good for nothing. So the moment Asif tried to raise the gun and shoot, the businessman came into action. And this time Asif had forgot to load the gun. There was no bullets happening. So this time again he was overpowered and thrown in the jail for a year and a half. No one gave him work after that, and he is known as Asif Bawla. I did this story in Indian Express. I met this guy, and I realized that when he talks like a real bhai. Akka khatam kar dalega. Ration card se naam kaat dalega. I mean, that's the kind of language he used. But look at his fantastic, sterling achievements. So my point here is that people like to boast. People like to, talk about their achievements as if it's something huge or they are connected to some very top gangsters without any of their own contribution to these kind of brave things. I'll tell you one more story, and this is about Dawood Ibrahim himself. It is not my interview, sorry. It is some other story. Just to tell you this, underworld guys, in case, God forbid, if at all you happen to come across these people, don't be scared of them. I just want to tell you them. These guys are hollow, cardboard heroes. Even filmy heroes are far braver. Well, sorry. Because I just realized there are some people sitting here. I might have made a mistake in saying that. Dawood narrated this story to Amjad Khan, and Amjad Khan, late Amjad Khan, narrated this story to someone, and that's how I heard this incident. Dawood was very fond of having very expensive lighters. A lighter studded with diamond and a gold lighter. He used to always carry in his front pocket. So he was narrating this story to Amjad Khan, and saying that once when he was at Dubai airport, and he was sitting and waiting for his flight, one gentleman came and sat next to him and asked him, "Do you have a lighter?" So Dawood gave him a lighter. The businessman, he lit that cigarette of his. He looked at that lighter, kept in his pocket, and started walking away. So Dawood thought, what I've just given him for that cigarette? It was not for him as a gift. So Dawood walked behind him and said, "Sir, excuse me, you have got my lighter. You forgot to return that lighter." Now Dawood himself said this in his own words, that the man turned and gave him a very nasty glare and said, "Do you know who I am?" Dawood said, "No, I don't know who you are." He said, "Dawood ka aadmi hu." So, this is the profile or the sketch of people who are full of such jokers in the underworld. So we don't have to be scared of them, and we should not, read and be on awe of them. They are just good in the pages of the books which I have written, or maybe you can read elsewhere, but not to ever be scared of them or be threatened by them. Now I'm told that you want to hear my story of interview with Dawood Ibrahim. See, this interview, I don't know why you guys like it so much, because for me, it is just another interview. When I joined crime reporting in 1995, I was doing a lot of stories about, a doctor whose formula was of worth 310 crore was stolen, or a high court judge who had taken money from a drug baron in London for writing a book, and in return for that book contract of $25,000, he will release two of his men, that drug guy's men, Iqbal Mirchi's guys in Mumbai. So these are the stories I've done. I had this boss called Sai Suresh Sivswamy. These editors in newspaper, they think that by yelling and by barking, they show their competence. But actually it's their lack of confidence which they express by yelling and barking at the top of their voice. So my boss, Sai Suresh, was a man who was not all yelling or barking. He used to give challenges. If you are a guy worth your salt, go and interview Arun Gawli. Arun Gawli was in Aurangabad jail. It was difficult even for the crime branch to interview him without a procedure. But Sai gave me this challenge. So I interviewed Gawli. I interviewed Chota Rajan. I can even speak to Chota Shakil whenever I wanted to in those days, not now. Today I don't want to talk to him. But I had not interviewed Dawood Ibrahim until then, in 1997. So after having spoken to all the dons, after having interviewed all of them, when Sai told me that I'm sure you can never interview Dawood, it was again a challenge. And as a journalist who has broken a lot of stories by then, felt that if really I would not be able to do this interview. It will be something lacking in my CV, in my career. So I decided to interview Dawood. So somehow, I don't want to disclose all those confidential details about how I set it up. But in those days, we were having pages. There was no mobile phone at that time. Mobile phone came somewhere, I think, September 1997. So I was carrying a pager, and the system was that I will get a message, and whenever I get a message on that pager, I'll go to a nearby phone, and I'll make a phone call from there. And this guy will connect me to Karachi. So, well, I was traveling one fine day, and was passing through a place called Kalina. Kalina is a place where, in near northeast suburb, it's a small place where we have Air India quarters, and just behind that colony, you see planes taking off from the runway. So I was in an auto rickshaw, and I was passing by when I got a message to make a call on so-and-so number. So I got off my rickshaw, and I made a call on that number, and immediately I was connected to Karachi. Now, the surprise element that we all have here is because of movies. We all have seen Ram Gopal Verma movies, and we all know that the gangster should be wearing 10 kg gold chain, 10 kg, 10 gram, whatever. A very huge chain, and they should be speaking only in abuses and expletives. They can't talk to you in a very civil, polite manner. So when the guy came on the phone, and he said, hello, farmaiye. So I thought maybe this guy is an operator of Dawood. And since he's in Pakistan, he's trying to show off his Urdu to me. So I am also from Lucknow, and I thought, why not? I can also flaunt my language, and I can prove it to him that I can also speak good Urdu. So I said, Aapka isme grami? Isme grami means your name. Means what's your name? What's your respected name? So then this guy, in all his politeness and sweetness, replied, मेरा नाम दाऊद इब्राहिम है. क्या मुझसे बात करना चाहते थे? Imagine what would have happened to me. I mean, I am like right now narrating this incident to you very nicely, but when I heard Dawood Ibrahim, I was like out dancing. Oh, Dawood Ibrahim. So for a moment I thought someone is playing a prank with me. I said, वो बोरी मोहल्ले वाले दाऊद इब्राहिम, पाक मोड़िया स्ट्रीट वाले दाऊद इब्राहिम. He said, जी हाँ, मैं दाऊद इब्राहिम कास्कर बोल रहा हूँ. And now I was convinced I'm talking to a real guy. So well, this conversation lasted for 45 minutes, and the interview was already published in Indian Express, and then I've reproduced it in my book, Dongri Dubai. I don't think I need to go into the depth and details of that question and answer that I have with him. I asked him, thank you very much. Now, soon after landing in Iraq, I realized that it's very difficult to, penetrate the cordon of American soldiers and do other stories. Though I managed to interview Saddam's bodyguard and other interesting stories, but within few days I realized that this is not Mumbai, and I will not be able to do stories as successfully as I was doing in my home turf of Mumbai. Because there was no Dawood, there was no Chota Rajan, there were no other gangsters. So I thought maybe I'll find a gang lord here. And I started looking for a guy there. You know, in Arabic, they called harami as thief. If you say harami, in Arabic it means thief. So I started asking for Shaykhul Harami in the streets of Iraq. Do you know I can meet some Shaykhul Harami here? Now I was very indiscreet. So, I should not have done that. But all my crime stories have happened because of this indiscretion that I keep doing in my life. So when I kept on asking about Shaykhul Harami, I was standing in a bookshop, and then I felt a cold barrel on my back, and the guy said, sit in the car. Now I already felt, and I know that this is not Asif Dhakkan. This one's someone smarter. So I sat in the car quietly, and I was blindfolded. After 20 minutes of drive through some highways, he took me to a place and made me sit in a chair, tied my hands, and then opened my eyes. I don't know how many of you have seen Iraqis or Arabs, but Iraqis always have thick mustache. They have some beard, and also their hair are very disheveled all the time. I have been to a lot of Arab countries, so I know how they look. I'm not exaggerating. But this man, whom I saw in front of me, was surprisingly clean shaven. He had no mustache, he had no beard, and he had long hair till his shoulder. I mean, I thought maybe he's not Iraqi, he's someone else. So he asked me, "Are you Pakistani?" He didn't say Pakistani, he said Pakistani. Because in Arabic there is no pa. So I said, "No, I'm Hindi, I'm Indian." He was very happy at my being Indian. He untied my hands. He said, "Do you know Amisha Bakkan?" I said, "I only know Amisha Patel. I don't know Amisha Bakkan." So this time he was suspicious of me, that whether I lied that I was Indian, I might be Pakistani. He said, "What kind of Indian are you? You don't know Amisha Bakkan?" I said, "Yeah, really. I don't know Amisha Bakkan. Who is this?" So then he went inside. He opened a cupboard and took a photograph, a big photograph, and he showed it to me. Now those guys who have seen Shakti would have known that Amitabh Bachchan was having long hair and he was wearing those black and some gun in his hand. So he showed me that photograph. Agai Kuwat Amisha Bakkan. Agai Kuwat means the man from that movie Shakti. Amisha Bakkan. I said, "Amitabh Bachchan, yes, I know him." This guy misunderstood my gestures. He thought that maybe I'm a big fan of Amitabh Bachchan, which I was not knowing earlier. He was very happy. So he says, "If you sign a Ahdnama with me, that is a covenant, I will let you go." I said, "What is that Ahdnama?" He said, "Whenever I come to Mumbai, you will introduce me to Amisha Bakkan." There was no way that I could have introduced him to Amitabh Bachchan. In 2004, I was not even sure if Mr. Bachchan will take my call or, will be willing to meet someone to spare my life. But I said, "Okay, whatever you want to sign, I can sign." I signed on this covenant, this Ahdnama, and he treated me very nicely. He gave me very nice food after that. And he also gave me some stuff which I did not write when I came back, but that's how he saved my life in Iraq because of Amisha Bakkan. Sorry, Amitabh Bachchan. So thank you very much. Now you guys can, if you have any question and answers, I'm ready for that. Yes.
But in those movies, the gangster is sometimes expressed as a hero. It is exaggerated as a hero. So don't you think that sends a wrong message to the society? And what do you want to say about that?
See, I write my books, and I don't project gangsters as heroes. I think you're talking about Shootout at Wadala. Now that movie was based on John Abraham, Mania Survey, and Mania Survey played the titular role in it. So I'm sure that any director would not like to portray John Abraham as a villain. So those are his compulsions, that he has to portray John in a positive role or as a villain who has been wronged, and which is why he became a bad guy. So that's your answer. I never thought that Mania Survey is a heroic guy or a good guy. He wanted to make a trilogy of encounter movies, and that's how he did it. And
Sir?
yes.
Sir, you have interacted with so many gangsters and all these people, and you give such statements that they are hollow from inside and they don't have the spine. But you might have got several death threats from such people, and you are, after all, a family man. How do you manage such situations and dodge these people?
Karna said in Mahabharat that वे योद्धा काट के होते हैं जो भयभीत नहीं होते. I had my share of fears, and I had one very trying incident which I faced, and I was threatened by a gangster. It was, I think, about 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago, and I'm sure any father would have got rattled after that. This guy called me and said, "Stop doing what you're doing. Otherwise, we know so much about you that you will regret being a journalist." I said, what do you know about me? He said, I know you have a son, 6-year-old son, who goes to a school. You will not believe what happened to me at that time. I'm in my son, and he's saying that he knows that he's 6-year-old and he's going to school. He expected me to beg, he expected me to be on my knees and plead, said, Bhai, jane do, sorry, I will not do this again. But I did something very, very reckless at that time. I said, perhaps your information is not complete. His name is Hussain Zaidi. He's studying in class 2C in school Saraswati Vidyalaya. When I said that, you will... When I was saying that, my heart was in my mouth, and I don't know what happened to my blood pressure. My legs were frozen cold. But what I can tell you 100% is that the man on the other side of the phone felt as much fear as I did. There was a long pause. The man did not say anything for 30 seconds. And then, after 30 seconds, he just kept the phone down, thinking that I'm mad. I should be in an asylum. So this was one of those times which I've got threat. At other times also I've got similar threats, but they were not about my children. I have managed to handle them. And I've survived, so.
Just coming back to one of your stories, can you tell us what happened to the guy who took Dow's lighter?
Nothing. Daud just asked him, have you ever seen or met Daud? He said, yeah, we both worked together. So then Daud said that, he asked him, what was the last project that you handled? And then slowly he realized that he's being interrogated, and this man perhaps knows more than he's a bigger guy than in the hierarchy of the gang. So that's how.
Sir,
Yeah.
I know it sounds foolish, but is there any interesting thing which you did not put in your books and which you want to just tell us?
See, there are a lot of interesting stuff which I have not put in my book because they couldn't be corroborated. I try to write only about those incidents which I have managed to find somewhere in documents, in police records, in dossiers, in archives, or somewhere in family interviews. But those incidents which, was narrated by only one man, and I could not corroborate or verify it from other sources, I have not included those incidents in my stories.
Can you share one, sir?
There are so many of them, and why you want to hear?
I can start. Sir, you have interrogated many people, interviewed many people who have been one of the most wanted men in India by maybe RAW or IB. So, have you any time received political pressure to not publish these books about maybe Rajan or Daud?
No. I mean, they have not threatened me about not publish their books. They have threatened me for not writing stories against them. Like so many politicians, so many police officers have threatened me that I should not write story against them in Midday or when I was in Express, both the places. Yes.
Sir.
Because India does not want to get him here. America is not. America wants to protect him. See, America wants to protect him as much as Pakistan, and we don't want him here, want to get him back to India, so he'll be safe in Pakistan. Simple. See, all this that you read in newspapers, don't believe those stories, because we are really not keen on getting Daud Ibrahim here. Otherwise, Daud has made 2 offers of surrender. In 1994 and in 2005, twice he had said he wants to come back to India, but Indian government has always turned a deaf ear towards his offer. So that means that they are not interested in getting him back.
Okay, the one last question.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes.
So, how much influence does Mumbai Mafia have currently? Like on Mumbai business and all?
They are almost over.
Almost over.
They are not as active as they were in 1998, 1999. With the spate of police encounters and stringent laws like MCOCA, they are almost finished. Now they are in the, you can say that towards the fag end of their threat or their clout which was there in Mumbai. Not so much anymore.
Excuse me,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Sir, you
Just two
published
guys,
Black.
you and you last, yeah.
Sir, you published Black Friday in 2002,
Yeah.
and Anurag made a movie of it in 2004, but it didn't release till 2007, and for no good reason, but just because it had real names in it. So, do you think that these guys have reached these heights because they are working together with the government, with the custom officials, and everyone? So, can we conclude that?
Sorry, say that again. Your question?
Sir, in 2004, Black Friday was released,
Yeah.
but it got banned for 2007.
It was released in 2001.
The book was released in 2001,
Huh.
but the movie was released in 2004, and
Yeah.
it got banned till 2007.
Right.
So can we conclude that the whole network includes the government officials and all the custom people that they are
No,
working
there
together?
is a legal technicality for holding the movie. The reason was that when Anurag made that movie, he had used the names of all those accused, and their role and their involvement in the blast was shown. So there was a petition in the High Court which indicated that this might influence the public opinion against the Tata accused. So even before the trial is completed, they will be held guilty, not just by the courts, but even by the public. So they wanted to stall that movie so that it should not influence. Two High Court judges who saw that movie for 3 times, sometimes along with the family and their in-laws also, they thought that yes, it will influence the public opinion, and the movie was stalled. I want to speak to this boy. He's been like standing for a long time. Yes. Thank you. There was no motivation, it was compulsion. I have narrated this incident so many times that after a few months in the Asian Age, and after working with some of the worst barking bosses, I got a break in Indian Express. Now in Indian Express, Sai Suresh was the guy who was launching Newsline. He had finished his recruitment of new team. Only one slot was remaining. He called me and he said, okay, I want you to cover crime. I said, but I have been covering general beat like education, BMC, transport and other stuff. Why crime? He said, there's only one slot remaining, and because most of the criminals are Muslims, and you are a Muslim, you should cover crime. So do you think I was motivated? No. There was sheer compulsion. If you want this job, this is the condition, fulfill the condition, get the job. And then I realized that if I have to be a good reporter, if I have to get front page bylines, if I have to survive in this cutthroat world, I have to do good work. So then, simple. Ma'am? I'm sorry, we can meet and talk after this is over. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much.